It's time to install the dial. I'm going to take a little bit of lubricant. This is an Aeroshell 22. It's a non-petroleum based lubricant, which S&G recommends. And although this is not a mandated lubrication point, I'm going to make a thin film and I'm going to rub it on the bearing surface of the dial at the base of the spindle. You can tell that it's a very thin, virtually invisible film of lubrication, and that's where the dial bears inside this swivel bearing. Before I install the dial, I need to put the dial spring on, followed by the metal washer, followed by the white plastic washer. And now from inside the safe, I hold the drive cam steady while I thread the spindle into the drive cam. And remember, as that dial gets close to the dial ring, I slow down, I use a light touch. I want those washers to center themselves on the spindle hub. And if you go slowly, without much force, they'll do that virtually every time. Now when the top surface of my dial is very nearly matched to this raised ridge surface on the dial ring, I stop. It feels just a little tight, so I'm going to back it out one turn. Now I'll go to the inside of the safe and position my drive cam. As we did before, holding the dial at 0, I'll manually position the drive cam with its gate underneath the lever nose. Now I have a spindle spline keyway, pretty much aligned with a drive cam spline keyway, and I can push my spline key into position. Now, if for some reason finger pressure was not enough to seat this spline key, I'll take the piece of spindle that we cut earlier and normally would discard. I'll use it as a flat punch. A couple of light taps will seat the spline key fully. Once I have the spline key in place, I install the tiny spline key screw using a very small Phillips screwdriver. Now my spline key's in place. As I turn the dial from outside the safe, my drive cam rotates at the same rate. Before I removed the cover from its electrostatic packaging, I donned a grounding wrist strap. It's attached to the safe here at a bare metal location, and of course the other end is on my wrist. And I was very careful in removing the cover. I don't want to introduce any electrostatic discharge into this at this point. We have two batteries to install. One is a coin cell, and the other is a camera type battery. Note the caution on the label on top of the battery holder for the coin cell. The positive side of the coin cell goes up. The coin cell is installed first. It simply slides into position. It's held in by friction. The next battery that goes in is the lithium cell. Positive side goes at the top, and you'll notice that the lock beeped, indicating that it's powered up. It's now doing a battery check, and if it finds that everything is okay in the system, it beeps again, as it did just there. So we know our batteries are installed correctly, and now we can place the cover on the lock body. We're about to install the cover, but before we do, notice that there are two rows of small electrical pins attached to the circuit board on the underside of the cover. There is a corresponding receptacle for those pins in the lock body. The pins must be aligned with this receptacle very carefully as the cover is being placed on the body. I'm still wearing my electrostatic wrist strap, and I very carefully place the cover on the lock body, move it into position, The label on the cover tells me that the shorter of the two cover screws goes at the top location. We use a lock washer on both of the cover screws. The longer cover screw, again, according to the label, goes in the lower hole. And again, a lock washer is used under that screw head. We snug both of those down. Cover installation is complete, and at this point I can remove my wrist strap.